Hello and welcome to the class. Today we're going to talk about past tense pronunciation of regular verbs. So regular verbs they all end the same way with ed. Sometimes they might have an extra letter added to it or a letter changed. And like we might double the letter or a Y will become an I, but for the most part, they are the same. So let's get started here. And so things move a little bit slow. Now, we look at some words like cars, for example. The R and the S do not have similar sounds, so we will pronounce just like cars. Bike, the K and the S do not have similar sounds, and the E is silent, so we would say bikes. But of course, S and S, if I try to silence the E, it would just be bus, and no one would know if it's silent or not. So, of course, we have to pronounce that. So we have these similar sounds, and boxes. Now, box does not sound exactly like an S, but it is a similar sound. If I say box, because it ends with the S sound, if I don't pronounce the ES, I will not know that it's plural, so I would say boxes. Same thing with match. Match, I cannot really pronounce the S afterwards because I'm closing my mouth with my teeth, and it is not possible, so I say matches. And buzz has a Z, has a similar sound to S. So if I say buzz, it's not clear, so I have to say buzzes. So that's the rule with the S. And we're not going to talk about this one today. We can talk about it another day, but just to show how we have this similar sound rule in English. Now, we're going to talk about the D sound, like erased. So the E is silent, erased, zoomed. Again, the E is silent, and we have a D sound, but it ends with a T or a D. We have to pronounce it because if I say act, it ends with sort of a D sound, so I have to say acted and aided. So let's jump over to our next slide, and we'll take a look at it. So this is the pronunciation rule. So we have words that end with a T sound, and so we have the E's become silent. So we would say worked, watched, cooked, shopped, danced, erased. And here are the pronunciations for you to practice. This is something that you may need to practice to just get in the habit, because some of you may have been taught by non-native speakers. So if that's the case, they may have taught you incorrectly. So you have to break bad habits. Now the next one here is you also make it silent with these letters, but it becomes cleaned, stayed, steamed, exercised, closed, and realized. Now you might wonder, why does closed have a different sound than erased? And it's because erased, the S is harder. It's an S sound. Closed is a Z sound. So usually when there's one S, it makes a Z sound, but it's not always true. And it depends on the roots of the words. So when we look at these, it'll be cleaned, stayed, steamed, exercised, closed, and realized. So, and this is pronunciation. Usually with softer letters, it ends with a D sound, and harder letters, it ends with a T sound. But here's something, you don't have to memorize this because it's really natural. Because if I tried to pronounce dance like an S sound, or like a Z sound, it'd be danced, and it would end up like a D sound. So you have to pronounce it in the way, you know, with these letters. You'll have whatever the letter sound is, you're going to have to pronounce it. Like a lot of people accidentally say erased when they're pronouncing the word because they learn the single S rule, but it's erased. A lot of non-native teachers teach this incorrectly, but it's erased. But if I did say erased, this would be a D sound, and it would be difficult for me to say erased, because I'd have to have an awkward pause. So it's just natural. You don't have to memorize it. Now the final rule is the ID, and of course there's nothing there because it's pronounced as is: wanted, visited, invited, decided, added, acted. So I have to pronounce the ED because otherwise I would not be able to hear it. So here are several of the rules, not all of them, but so these words might have like a CH sound: approached, stretched, and then we have laughed, so has an FT sound: asked, dropped, banished, balanced, addressed, erased, birthed, fixed. So you notice that, fixed with the S is fixes because it has a similar sound, but fixed with this D, it's like an XT sound. So we follow these rules for these letters, and then the softer letters end with a D. So climbed, accompanied, agreed, annoyed, plowed. The GH is silent here, but the F sound for laughed. And that's one of the unusual things about the English language that makes it difficult. But there are not many words with the GH sound, so it's easy to memorize all the words. So belonged, arranged, appealed, accused, accustomed. And I hear a lot of people go accustomed. I'm accustomed, but it's not correct. And they use the word which should be in place of used to. So this is something that one of the things that I teach: when to use this word, when not to. Cleaned, hiccuped, and hiccuped is, and actually the hiccuped should be over here on this side. I made a mistake. So hiccuped is a PT sound. Answered, breathed, arrived, followed, advertised, realized. So these are the rules. And I actually have this corrected on my PowerPoint, but my PDF. So if you want a PDF of this, let me know. And so we have climb becomes climbed. So it makes the D sound. And massage becomes massaged, just like this, massaged. So it has a JD sound. Plug becomes plugged. It has a GD sound. And plow becomes plowed, just like loud, plowed. Dry becomes dried, dried. And some people will say dry-id, but that's not correct. You would just say dried. This sound is one sound. It's called a diphthong. It's a diphthong sound. So married, marry, married. And again, a lot of people say married, but it's not. It's married. Married. One sound. So it's married is only two syllables. Smile, smiled, smiled. perform, performed, performed. Rain, rained, rained. Just one sound. Water, watered, watered. One sound. And I think that might be the wrong word down there, but I'm not sure. Breathe, breathed, breathed. Move, moved, moved. Snow, snowed, snowed. Play, played, played. Buzz, buzzed, buzzed. Study, studied, studied. She looks like she's studying very hard. Dance, danced, danced. Reach, reached, reached. Cast off, cast oft, cast oft. Laugh, laughed, laughed. So just a simple sound. Cook, cooked, cooked. Stop, stopped, stopped. Pass, passed, passed. So it's just like the word past, P-A-S-T. Exact pronunciation. Fish, fished, fished. So just a simple sound. One syllable. Not fished. Watch, watched, watched. So you notice it's one sound, but if watch had a S, it would be watches. But we have ED sound, two different sounds with from the CH. And we would say watched. Fix, fixed, fixed. Add, added, added. Visit, visited, visited. So now we have the T has the same sound, so we have to pronounce that. Now, if I've had an S at it, like a plural form, she visits the, whatever country that is, she visits. So there would not be a sound in between because the S has a different sound from the T. But with visited, visited. And so, now this is a summary of it. This is all you have to remember. So if the E is silent for all regular verbs that do not end with D or T, so the E is silent if the verbs do not end with a T or a D. So a T or a D sound. So if it does not end with a T or D sound, the E is silent. So worked, washed, cleaned, stayed, no extra syllable. The E is not silent for all regular verbs that end with a T or a D or a D or a T sound. So the key word is sound. So wanted, visited, decided, added. So you add an extra syllable. And the first one, you don't need to add an extra syllable. So in reality, in order to make the correct pronunciation, all you need to focus on are the T and the D. So if it ends with a T or a D, when you have a past tense regular verb, you pronounce it. So thank you for watching. And any questions, feel free to contact me. There's my email, my telephone number if you live in the US, and that's also my WhatsApp number. So feel free to contact me. And again, thank you very much for watching.
Desbloqueie o mundo de oportunidades com nossas aulas de inglês. Você é um estudante brasileiro procurando melhorar suas habilidades de inglês. Nossos professores experientes estão aqui para ajudá-lo a alcançar fluência e confiança na fala, leitura, escrita e compreensão. Com aulas dinâmicas e interativas do professoramericano.com, você aprenderá o vocabulário, gramática e expressões mais recentes para ajudá-lo a se dar bem num mundo globalizado. Seja para preparar-se para a faculdade, para uma carreira ou para viajar, nossas aulas são adaptadas para atender às suas necessidades específicas. Não deixe barreiras linguísticas te impedirem. Inscreva-se em nossas aulas de inglês hoje e comece a falar inglês com facilidade.